So I filmed a very similar video for my TikTok because I've noticed this mostly on TikTok, but I feel like it's something that a lot of people would find interesting. And there are plenty of other people who've talked about this too. But every time I see point shoe prep videos, like mostly on TikTok, there are so many comments every time asking like, well, in this day and age, why can't point shoe companies make shoes that you don't have to destroy? And like, why can't they make all these specifications? Because I feel like everybody does the exact same thing every time. And it's not quite true. We might do a variation of the same thing, but that's kind of what I'm gonna go into. So for one thing, like I know a lot of people who follow my channel know a lot of this already because you all probably, a lot of you dance yourselves and things, so you know this is not new. But for people who don't know, and also, I'm sorry I couldn't face the nice part of my room, but it's so dreary I need the window in front. But, so there are two differences. There are traditional point shoes, which are going to look like, you know, like Fried of London point shoes are very traditional looking. So, and then you have the synthetic point shoes like Gainer Minden's. So this is what the synthetic point shoes look like. They're just, basically the shank is like made of plastic. Like I can't even really show you it, it doesn't. But yeah, so differences here between traditional and synthetic. And even, this is my Suffolk, so these are another pair of traditional point shoes. So a lot of people mention different customizations, like they mention things like seeing people, because mostly it's people doing Frieds a lot of times, but you see people pulling the heel pin out or cutting out the shank or stepping on the box. Now stepping on the box, like I think a lot of that too is because not everybody steps on the rocks. I think most people do, but I think it also helps the shoe hold its integrity while it's being shipped, so that because once you step on it, it is going to start breaking down the glue, and you don't want that ahead of time. You know, you want your shoes to last. That's part of it. Everybody breaks their shoes in very differently. My little 5'1.5" size feet with like no arch and instep are gonna look very different from someone else's. So how I will break in my shoes and what I need to dance comfortably is going to be different. And it is trial and error over years. When I first started wearing point shoes, it was bad, and I did not know why until my teachers started teaching me how to customize the shoes for my feet and my needs. And in the beginning, I think I was making them a lot softer than I maybe needed to. But I was wearing Grishkas first, which did not work for me, and then I was wearing Russian points for a long time. And then it's like I couldn't wear Frieds for a very long time until I went to Fried and got fitted by them, and they got me in the right shoe. So I wear Suffolk. Mostly now I wear Fried, Suffolk, and Gainer Minden. It kind of just depends on what I'm eating, because like I am an adult dancer. I can't buy more shoes, so I'm trying to just make my shoes last as best they can, and Frieds do not last as much as I love them. But also because I haven't been doing as much lately because I've taken some time off, my feet are not as strong as they used to be. So where my feet were stronger to dance in Frieds and really just use my feet and my muscles to pull me up, they're not at that point right now because I have taken time off. So that's also why I would use a stronger shoe like my Suffolk or like a Gainer, because the Frieds are just very soft on me right now. Now when they come brand new, they look like this. And this is a pair I haven't done anything with. I do have a few pairs in my closet back there that I'm just saving because I can't afford to just buy new shoes all the time. So they're very stiff and hard. Obviously you can see the box is very high, which is why we would step down on that. But you don't want the glue to break down ahead of time, which is why they don't make them like that. You know, you can hear how hard it is. Like when my shoes, I pull this up and I do pull the heel pin out and I kind of break the shank back and forth where I need it. Where my foot needs that arch support and that bend is going to be wildly different from every other dancer. So I learned how to wear a 3/4 of my shoes, which means taking out like the top quarter of the shank when I need to, by measuring it on my arch. I would literally draw a little pen mark on my arch and then draw it on the shoe, and that's where I would break and cut. Now I just know where that is on my shoe because I've done it for so long. But I also, I still leave mine in where a lot of people cut theirs fully out. I still want the support from it, but not as much as like a brand new stiff shank, because like this is very hard and it's not bending. This bends like that. There's a big difference. I also glued the back of mine where my arch bends as well, because that also ensures that the shank and the shoe will hold up longer. So putting that glue there where my foot is bending it the most is going to help hold the shoe intact longer. Same with when I put glue, I don't know if you can see it here well, but I do put glue down in the shoe. That just extends the life of the box and makes it last longer. Now you can see the glue came outside, which I try not to do, but sometimes it happens. I also darn the tip, I just hit myself in the face with the threads. I darn the tips of my shoes, especially with Freeds. I don't do it with every shoe. I don't have to do it with my soft picks. I used to do it on gainers. That was awful, and I don't know why. But that's when I started now wearing a larger size of gainer, or box size of gainers, so it's not as narrow. These are narrow, but also they don't sit flat all the time, and once you darn them, they do. And then also this protects the bottom of the shoe more so that it lasts longer. It just helps with a lot of things. So I personally do like to darn mine. And I just use like this. I don't really know what it is. Don't know where I got it. I got it many, many years ago, and it still lasts, and I have giant needles in it for it too. And actually, the other thing I like to do too that I learned maybe from Catherine Morgan, I don't know, I keep the extra drawstrings that I cut out in this bag, and I will put them, I don't know if I did on this pair because I'm not feeling it. It might have been after that I did it. I did on this pair. I think I can see it. But I will put the drawstring there, and then I will darn around the drawstring, so it adds an extra layer of support, and like it really helps hold the shoe. And it like that helps the darning just stay in place. So I don't do that on every shoe. I did it on my last pair of blocks. I don't know if those are in here. I'm not seeing those. They're over there. I haven't done it. These are the only pair of blocks I will wear anymore. Is the Heritage Strong, but they're still not my favorite. So they're one that lasts a little longer than my Freeds. Honestly, I think I have my Suffolks, but they don't look as nice on my feet. They're very easy for me to dance in, but they just don't look as nice. And I am at the point now where I know that I can dance well in shoes. I need to find shoes that work for my feet and make them look nicer. Like when I was doing shows and stuff, like when I was in, even though I was barely in Giselle, or when I did our class recital, all those things, I wanted shoes that really show off my feet well, which needed help. So you've also seen me in videos put those little foot things on my arches, which, you know, people make fun of them, but I'm gonna pull them out here. They are these, I got them a long time ago from an Australian brand, but they are literally fake silicone arches that slide on your feet. These are in rough shape. I only used them when I did performances or photo shoots because I have no instep on my feet. Like, it just isn't, like, there's nothing. I'll try and show you this way. It's like concave instead. So, I would use these just for the illusion of making my foot look a little bit nicer because, like, my teachers always thought, like, oh, you're not over. I'm like, I'm actually over. I just don't have an instep. So, that's why. Also, I use these in my toe pads or the Hydros things, whatever they are, but these are second skin squares. I just put them over to protect my toenails and my big toe. And then I am still wearing my Perfect Fit Points that I also put tape over so they're molded to my toes. That's what I prefer. But when I wear other shoes like my Gainers, which are the synthetic ones, I actually have a separate pair that I have to wear in those. Most of my other shoes, I can transfer them in and out. But because of the issues I've had with Gainers hurting my toenails, which is a lot of people have that issue, I need more padding on my big toe, which is what this does. Okay, I got a little off track here. Now, if you want a more concise version, you can watch my TikTok video, but when you order customizations, so if you're a professional, like your company is usually paying for your shoes, especially if you're in a bigger company, like you get a decent amount of shoes, you do trials, like New York City Ballet, they're all in Freeds, they have custom shoes. Not as students, but as like professionals, and especially as you're higher up. And they do make a priority on those higher up professionals to make sure they have the shoes that they need for their shows. When you order customizations or trials, not only is it a lot more expensive to order those, so if you're paying for them for yourself, that is a lot more expensive. And if you go through Freeds that quickly, you don't want to be paying for that. You would rather make the customizations yourself and save yourself like $30-something or whatever it is for all those extra things. I don't even know what it is because I haven't done it. A lot of the things people talked about, like, oh, everybody removes that little heel pin. Yeah, most of us do. Not everybody does, but you can order that as a customization. It is an option, but it's going to cost you extra. Just like you can order your shank to be softer or cut differently. You can order more glue in the shoe. You can order the sides cut down, the heel cut down to make your foot look better. You can order so many different things, but at the end of the day, it's going to cost a lot more and it's going to take a lot longer for you to get your shoes. So if you, especially like for me at least as just a normal dancer, if I'm ordering Gainers, it takes at least like 2 months, I think, to get a custom pair of shoes from them. I've never done trials from Freed, for myself. I've gotten other people's, like these are someone else's trials. You can see on the bottom, it literally says trials. But so it tells you like the things that they got on their shoe and all of that. And some of these I actually really like, but I'm like, I don't know what their trial was. I don't even know who it was. It's just like someone had extra, like when the trials didn't work for them, they sell them as like cheaper shoes for other people that want them. So I got some of these, which also helped me save money. But like with gainers, so now that they have the new European ones, a lot of people still don't like those. I am holding on to my American-made ones as long as I can, because the new ones, whether it's the European or the Lyra, they do not fit my feet well. They do not break at the right point for my arch, and that is the biggest problem for me. With a synthetic shoe, you cannot, like, you can't change that yourself. You can't cut the shank out. Now, I have seen someone recently do that with a pair of gainers, and I have never heard of that, but I'm like, I don't know how well that's actually gonna work. So you can't modify these in the same way that you can traditional shoes. So if they don't work, like for me, they break way too high if they're not. The American ones break where my arch breaks. The European ones, no matter which style, break too high. I also have the softest shank and I have a low vamp, so I have tried all the things. People keep asking me, like, would you try lower vamp? I'm like, this is the lowest it comes. And this is my Lyra. You guys have seen my video where I try them on. It doesn't work. And I also order them without the suede tip on the end because I don't like that. So not only is a low vamp is a customization, no suede tip is a customization, the purple shank is a customization that you have to wait extra for. If you order the top three, I think it's the yellow, the green, and the pink, it's normal standard shoe, but anything else like the blue or the purple is gonna be a custom shoe. A different vamp is gonna be a custom shoe. A different non-suede tip is, like none of those come standard. You have to wait a really long time to get those shoes. And so it's not worth it. I mean, I know gainers are gonna last you a lot longer for most people, but especially if they're not working. So for me, when like they don't hit the right spot on my arch, they pull me back, and that's not good and that's not safe. Which is why I prefer traditional shoes or my American-made gainers, which I'm laying on to till I can't wear them. But yeah, so that's kind of, I gotta look at my notes on my phone because I made a lot of notes so I wouldn't forget. But yeah, you can make lots of customizations, and a lot of brands offer it. Freed, I think, offers the most. It's also trial and error. You could do one customization, find out you hate how the shoe feels, and then you have to order more. And again, expensive and time. You know, where I cut my shank, some people have it, some people 3/4, whatever. It's all based on where your arch is. So where I cut my shank and what I do with it is not gonna be the same as another dancer. We all have different feet, different size feet, different, like everything is different about them. Nobody's are the same. If you're doing different variations, I never really had to do this much, but you may want, like say you're doing like Arabian for Nutcracker, you're pretty much gonna want a very soft moldable shoe that's almost dead kind of thing. And then say you're doing also like Sugar Plum or something where you need that balance and you need hard, or like Aurora, like you want a very hard shoe. They're gonna be very different just depending on what role you're dancing or what rehearsal you're in. I may not have had to worry about that as much, but I know that that is an issue for professionals as well. So it's easier if you can customize your shoes to which role you're going to dance. Like say, oh, I don't need to break this one in as much because I need this one for Aurora, versus this needs to be a much more broken in shoe because I need that for like Arabian. You know, so there's lots of differences there. And these aren't even all me speaking from experience or just more things I know, because obviously I'm not a professional. I used to dance a lot more than I have now, but these are still, I know this is what a lot of people feel about them too. The ribbons and elastic, same thing. Some people like double elastic, some people like single elastic. You know, you also have stiffer elastic, and you have like the mesh elastic, which is not stiff. You have stretch ribbon versus satin ribbon. You have different types of stretch ribbon because I've tried some that I hate. My favorite is the block stretch ribbon, but I don't usually wear block shoes, so I still have to get different ribbon to go with mine. And it's just, there's so many different preferences. And then people are also like, why is there always a lighter involved? The lighter is for the ends of your, and I don't always do it, and so you can see it. My ends are fraying. I don't know if you can see that on camera as well, but the ends are fraying because I didn't use the lighter on the end. So over time, they get really bad and really frayed if you're taking your shoes on an awful lot. So you want to do that on the ends of your ribbon at least. I don't know, I don't usually do it on my elastic, but at least on my ribbon. Although I will say, a lot of my shoes I have elastic that's like fraying on the end. There's one that actually probably needs to be re-sewn, and part of it's because I didn't use the lighter on it, so it's looking rough in there. But yeah, that's why we use a lighter. It's literally to help the stuff last longer and be safe and not dangerous. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing I can think of is that, like, and I know this is true of a lot of professionals as well, but even for me as a non-professional, doing the breaking in, preparing my shoes, getting them ready is like cathartic. It's like peaceful. It's methodic. It gives you that sense of just calm and routine that, like, sometimes I would come home from having a bad day and I'd be like, I have a new pair of Freeds and I have, you know, all these classes coming up. I'm going to prepare a new pair, and that made me happy. So, you know, a lot of dancers love that process that they go through too. So I think that's all the thoughts I have. But if you have any questions or extra thoughts, just leave in the comments, because, you know, a lot of people want to know about this. But this is all the thoughts I had. So.